Hello, Jody here.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the HAVIN workshop. My name is Raul Gallegos, and Stacie Gallegos is also here. We are both presenting. She's going to help primarily with the Zoom hosting and logistics aspect of the workshop. So she will be with us in just a moment to do that. I see some people still coming in, so welcome to everybody as you come in. Just a couple of logistics is that we want to try and keep the meeting um, friendly, and I don't want to talk at everybody for 2 hours. So people are not locked down. You can unmute. However, we ask that you be respectful of that. So if you've got your speech in the background or you're in a loud environment, please take that into account and either go to a quieter place or don't unmute until you're in a distraction-free zone, an area, and we will give this a try. Otherwise, Stacie is just dying to be the mute sniper, and she will happily mute you. No offense, but that way we can keep the meeting going. So the title for today's workshop is something that I forgot already, just because of the fact that I created it and it was kind of long and fancy and all that, but it's, here we go. So it is Unlock the Power of AI, Practical Uses, Top Models, and the Future. I'm going to start off by saying right away that I am not creative enough to come up with titles like that. So I actually used AI to help me get that title created. I could have probably asked Stacie, because Stacie comes up with some unique titles for stuff in other areas that she does. So she's sort of like my human AI. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm Raul Gallegos, and both Stacie and I we own and operate a small company called RGA Tech Solutions, and we do training and consulting and all that good stuff. The door prize for the workshop is going to be 1 hour of free training and consultation in the AI area. That's valued at $100. But we will work with you, and hopefully you'll decide to hire us in the future for other training needs. And so that will be there. Once a person is picked for that, you will need to be present to win. So please stick around as long as you can. We're going to try to end right at 4 o'clock. And by this time, you should be well versed in how to mute and unmute, so I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on that. And what I would like to do is start with a little history of AI. And so one of my questions is, and I kind of say this rhetorically, but think in the back of your mind, first off, what does AI stand for, right? So I think we all know that, but just in case, AI stands for artificial intelligence. That is the pure and simple description of what AI stands for, but that doesn't really tell us what it is if we've never really had much exposure to AI and what its capabilities are. So what I would like to do, and let's only take 5 seconds to think about this. So if somebody's already done it after 5 seconds, don't worry about it. We're going to keep you interacted, with this meeting. So um, if you can, go ahead and unmute and tell me a year of when AIs were first brought to the public or invented. Just shout out whatever year you think AI was invented or started. Time's running. Somebody unmute. Give me a year. You guys should be able to unmute.
1996.
96. Okay, good. All right. Anybody else?
2023.
2023. Okay, good. All right. What else? Anybody else? I'll take 3 more years. 19. Did somebody say 1950?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else?
I say 1956.
Okay, 1956. I like that. All right. Okay, so we've heard a range of from 1950 all the way to 2023. And the people who mentioned the 50s are actually the closest. So AI has been around since the 50s. I'm gonna tell you guys a disclaimer here that I am not an expert in AI. I am just a casual user, but I like it a lot. So I like to experiment a lot, and I use it for work. I use it for, my daily regimen of information. And sometimes I use it because I'm feeling lazy. Um, so some of the information that I give you is not going to be complete because of that reason. So it's one of those like somebody might love the use and the collection of swords and knives, but that doesn't mean they know how to make them themselves, right? So that's kind of where I am with AI. I know how a lot of the uses are for AI, and I know a little bit about its history, but I don't know everything about its history. But I do know that it started in the 50s. If you watch movies and you've been familiar with certain movies that have been really popular, I'm sure everybody on this call has heard of the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. That was a movie from the 60s, and it was a 1968, and it actually featured one of the most popular characters in movie history, Hal, right? Hal was a supercomputer. That is an AI right there. It was a computer that could think for itself. It was a computer that could react based on its environment and interact with people. Essentially, that's one form of AI right there. As we move into the 70s, there was a movie called Westworld, and that was about androids that um, malfunction and basically took over an amusement park. Sounds like a corny movie, but some of the movies in the 70s were kind of corny. Um, let's move over into the 80s. 80s has some of my favorite movies that featured AI. One of uh, the three of my favorite movies are going to be Blade Runner, which is about a dystopian future, and there were these bioengineered androids that were so human-like that people could not tell that they were androids. There was War Games with Matthew Broderick, where he taps into a super advanced computer system and almost starts World War III. Short Circuit, which had the famous number 5 is alive, right? It was a robot android that got hit by lightning. The name of that project of those robots in the movie was called Saint, which stood for Strategic Artificial Intelligence Nuclear Transport, which is basically an artificial intelligence bomb that was designed to infiltrate behind enemy lines. And one of them became alive and befriended, a character named Stephanie, and it was a really good movie. But that, I mean, even AI was part of its names in Saint. So, and then as we move into the 90s, we have Terminator, Ghost in the Shell. Everybody's heard of The Matrix. Bicentennial Man in early 2000. That was with Robin Williams. He was an android that became self-aware. So the list goes on, and these are just some of the more notable movies that feature artificial intelligence. I could spend a whole hour on talking about the movies alone, and another hour talking about books. But if you think there's a lot of movies that feature AI, there's a lot of books that feature them. I think even more. It's certainly a topic that I find fascinating and really interesting. So, what is AI really? It's basically a computer. It's not alive, but it is made by people, right? So it's going to have some human idiosyncrasies, and it's going to have some human bias built into it. No matter how open the AI is is made, or how open they'll tell you that it's not biased. At the end of the day, there is going to be some bias. Most AI models will have some protection in there to, have safeguards in there for certain things. So it doesn't mean that with all AI models that you can talk about any topics. And there are some pros and cons to that. This is not a debate as to whether AI models should be censored or uncensored, but just to let you know that they do exist out there. And there's reasons for both of them to be censored and uncensored. And we'll talk about that a little bit as time permits. So what I would like to do now, before I start describing some of the uses of AI, is let you know that the first hour, I'm going to primarily focus on using AI from your computer. So this is going to be primarily from your browser or from an app that's installed on your computer, whether it's a Mac or a Windows computer, are the ones I'm going to be talking about, and what some of the cool things that you can do with AI locally on your computer. And then in the second hour, I'm going to talk about some of the usage of AI from your smartphone, whether it is an Android or an iPhone. I personally use an Android for my daily primary phone. And so I'll talk about that a lot, but I also have an iPhone here, and I'll talk about some of the differences. And I'll talk about some of the apps that you might already be using, but maybe didn't think that they were incorporating artificial intelligence into. So let's go ahead and get started. And before I do want to open it up a little bit to um, write down. I'm going to write down about 3 questions, based on anything that I've talked about so far. If you have any questions about what I've mentioned so far before I get into this next section. So go ahead and unmute and say your name. I already know my name, so don't say my name. Go ahead and say your name, and either Stacie or I will acknowledge you, and then you can ask your question.
Yeah,
And
this is Sailor.
hey, Sailor, what's your question?
Oh, it's been a long time. Glad y'all doing good.
Yeah.
AI, I didn't know it's been around for a long time, but it just seems like recently, since the early 2020s, it has really taken off, and like AI is becoming more of our daily world now.
Yep. So
And
what's your question?
I've just, is AI gonna take over the world basically? Is it gonna do everything for us?
So that's a good question. Let me just say this. Whenever I talk to an AI model, I always say please and thank you. I jokingly say that I do that so that when AI takes over the world, it's going to remember that I treated it with kindness. So maybe it'll be a little more favorable toward me. That's the joke. The serious part is I think that when there's something new, there's always a little bit of trepidation, sometimes fear, caution as to whether it's going to take over the world, whether people are going to use it wrong, use it for nefarious purposes. And the answer is there's always going to be people who use things for nefarious purposes and use things wrong. Okay. But let me backtrack and talk a little bit about the horse pulling the carriage, transitioning to the self-propelled automobile. When cars were invented and cars started driving in the streets, people were scared. There were people who were scared. There were people who were cautious about, this new stuff and how well, people could depend on their horse. People could depend on the horse pulling the carriage. Why would you want something, new? And then there's always people who embrace new technologies. People were all about the car. And yes, you don't have to feed your horse. Sure, you have to feed the car gasoline, and you have to do maintenance on the car, but you have to do maintenance on the horse by having a vet taking care of it. What if the horse breaks his leg? You know what I mean? So there was all these pros and cons. So to the future here and to the present and going into the future, AI is no different in the sense that it's a new form of thinking, it's a new form of doing things, it's a new form of relying on ways to get information, and it's a new form of um, becoming self-sufficient in certain areas. It certainly helps blind people a lot. So, will it take over the world? I cannot answer that, but I think that anybody who has control over things, I imagine there's going to be legislation all over the world from different governments to, talk about what AI should or shouldn't do. And as we move forward into the future, maybe a few hundred years from now, there's going to be that question, if not already, when does AI become sentient? That question has been asked in books and movies. For those of you who don't know, I love Star Trek. Commander Data from Star Trek Next Generation was an android, and there were a few episodes in Star Trek, specifically the episode Measure of a Man from season 2, that asked this question exactly. Is he property of Starfleet, or is he a sentient being who is capable of making his own decisions? Those are philosophical questions that we can't answer today. So I don't know if that's what you meant, Sailor, but
Yeah, I
that's
meant,
that's
yeah.
my deep answer right there. All right. One more question before I move on. Anybody else?
Natalie West. I was
Natalie.
just wondering how AI can assist people with low vision and blindness.
All right. So that is something that should be answered throughout the session here. But to give you a quick bullet point, AI can assist people by using the camera on your smartphone to help you identify things. AI can be used from the computer to help you find mistakes in documents that you may not have picked or found on your own. AI can help you sort data much more efficiently, and that right there is something that it can help people whether they're blind or not. AI can help you match clothes and tell you what's trending, what's not trending, so that you can make your own decisions about what clothing you want to wear and how you want to match it up. And that's just barely the tip of the tip of the tip of the toe into what AI can do for blind people. All right, that's actually a good segue. So we're going to talk about AI on the computer here first. So you've heard me use the term AI quite a bit. You've heard me use the term model, and you've probably heard me use the term, what else? What else? Different forms of AI, right? But model and AI are two terms. There's also something called GPT, and then there's also something called a prompt. So I'm going to be using these words for a bit. And so the different AI tools that are used, and I'm only going to mention a few of them because we don't have time to cover all the ones that are out there. So some of the most notable AI tools that are out there are ChatGPT from OpenAI, Gemini from Google, Perplexity, and I forget the company name. I'd have to look it up or ask it, and Claude. And one more is Copilot, and Copilot is from Microsoft. So these are the ones that I'm going to be talking about today, and if we have time, I will also talk about Venice AI. But primarily, these are the different AI tools rather that I use, and each of these AI tools use what are called large language models or large learning models or LLMs. You might hear the term LLM. So a language model is essentially, think of it like the brain of the artificial intelligence, and that's the learning part. That's what listens to what you say in the prompt. There's that word prompt, and it reacts based on what you tell it. And it tries to learn. There's another one that I haven't mentioned is Meta. Meta AI is another one that some of you may have heard of. If you use Facebook or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, that has Meta integrated into it. So that's another one that's there. So anyway, what these AI models do is when you talk to them through the prompts is you can ask them questions. And some of you might say, well, how is that any different than me talking to like Siri on my phone or the A lady on my Amazon system or the Google Assistant on my Android? And before the AI systems started getting integrated into these smartphones and smart speakers, you are correct that the assistant was a little more limited, but it was still a form of artificial intelligence. Maybe not as advanced as some of these large learning models that we have now. And that's where a lot of people, when they think of AI in the 2020s, they think of these large language learning models like ChatGPT and Gemini. And in fact, Google has made it so that you can use Gemini as your Google Assistant from your phone. And so when you bring up the assistant, you are actually talking to Gemini. Apple has done similar with Siri by doing the Siri intelligence, and they have partnered with ChatGPT to make that possible. And then you can have Siri be a little smarter. Um, and and now, for those of you who are in the Amazon ecosystem, if you have upgraded your speakers to the Amazon Plus, that has a much smarter Alexa. I don't want to say the name because otherwise my speaker over here will think I'm talking to it. But the voice has changed, and you can do a lot more things than you could with the older models that that Amazon has had for a number of years. So they're here, and you can use them from your phone, or you can use them from your computer. So I'm going to talk about the usage of the computer. And so the way we do that is by
There will be
interacting with it.
no live radio show this
Hey,
Monday.
Sailor, you're unmuted, sir.
Oh, sorry.
So you use them through prompts on your computer, and the prompt is essentially you're going to give it instructions, and the instructions of this prompt could be something simple from asking it a question, similar to the way you would ask your phone assistant a question. Like you could say, "What's the weather?" You could say, "Tell me a joke," right? Those are prompts. However, the prompts can also be a little more advanced, and you could say something like, I'm about to give you some notes that I took in a class. I would like you to format them without using tables and instead separate my notes into bulleted items. Do not add anything that is not written in my notes, and please fix my spelling errors. That's a prompt. That's a more advanced prompt compared to, hi there, how's the weather? So a prompt is essentially, what do you type into the AI and how is it going to react? So I'm going to show you how different AI models react based on the same question. Now I'm trying to make this not staged because I want to make it as authentic as possible. So as I mentioned before, I love Star Trek. And so a lot of these AI models that I use already know this. And there's somebody's phone that's unmuted that's coming through the speaker. So there we go. I think it stopped. I was thinking that was mine because I thought I heard my name.
No, apologies.
Yeah. So you'll have to mute yourself. Mute snipe yourself. So what I would like to do is I would like to ask it a topic of something that I don't really know much about, because I can always fact check it, and I've caught some of these AIs giving wrong information, and that will happen sometimes. But so what I want to do is ask it a topic that I don't really know much about. So what I'd like to do is I'm gonna actually go through this list here, and I'm gonna pick somebody at random, and then I want you to tell me what topic you would like me to ask other than Star Trek. So let's do Max Crawford. I'm picking you at random, sir. Go ahead and unmute and give me a topic that I'm going to talk to the AI about other than Star
Okay.
Trek.
What about old time radio?
Old time radio. Thank you. All right. I'm going to
welcome.
ask it questions about old time radio. Okay. Now, this is something that I think I know what old time radio is, but I'm going to keep that to myself. I want to see if I'm right, and I'm going to ask it some questions about that. So what I'm going to do to let everybody know what it's showing is I'm going to share my screen along with sharing my audio, so you guys will be able to hear everything that's being said, because I'm doing this from my computer through the web browser. So give me a second while I get this set up. Okay. Here we go. We're going to share my Chrome browser. And I'm going to share the sound. And I'm sharing.
Screen sharing meeting controls window. Collapsed. Transcript panel now. Document 1. Word 3. Star movies with collapsed. Copilot 5 of 5. Screen sharing meeting controls 1 of Google Jet. Participants can now see your application alert. Google.
All right. So everybody should hear my
Open
speech.
upload file menu button. Add 5 button. Collapsed. Google main menu button. Expand menu. Conversation with Gemini heading level 1. Hello all.
All right. So I have Gemini up. I'm going to start with Gemini, and I'm going to go through the different AI models and ask it the same questions. And we're going to see the differences in how it responds, but also see how long it takes for that response to come through. With some of them, I've seen where it kind of trips it up a little bit, and it takes a while, and I have to prompt it to say, hey, are you still there? So the first one I'm doing is Gemini.
Heading level 1. Hello all. Blank. Button banana create image. Enter a prompt here. Edit multi-line app. Ask Gemini. Open upload. Enter a prompt here. Edit.
All right, so I am in the prompt. I'm going to say, hello, I'd like to know about old-time radio.
Hello, I'd like to know about old-time radio.
Okay, please tell me its history, what it is, and why people find it entertaining. Please provide the answer without using highly technical terms. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that prompt into my clipboard so that when I talk to the other AIs and ask it that question and give it that prompt, it's going to be the same throughout. So that way I don't accidentally make it a little different, and that way it's as fair as possible to compare.
Hello, I'd like to.
Okay, so I just copied that.
Find it. Dot. Blank.
All right, I'm going to press enter.
Ask Gemini. Gemini is typing. Gemini replied.
And Gemini replied. So as you guys can tell, it only took it like half a second.
Sources button.
All right, so now I'm going to Shift H.
Why people found a brief history. What is old time radio? Heading level 3. Hello, I'd like to know. Heading level 2.
There's my
Button
prompt.
expand. What is entertaining? All it hears genres especially interesting. Since hello all. That's a great question. Old time radio. OTR is a
All right, so I'm going to have it just read this, and hopefully it's at a good speed for everybody. I slowed it down, and I'll give it a brief summary here of once it's done talking. But this way gives you an idea of how it presents information. All right, so here we go.
Hello all. Linda Swanson has left the meeting alert.
Oh, I've got a Zoom thing. I should have probably turned that off.
Listen.
All right.
Hello, Raul. Hello, Raul. That's a great question. Old-time radio, OTR, is a fascinating piece of history, and since you enjoy epic fantasy and science fiction, you might find the early radio dramas in those genres especially interesting. Here is an explanation of what old-time radio is, its history, and why people found it so entertaining, all in simple terms. Heading level 3. What is old-time radio? Old-time radio refers to the shows that were broadcast during what is often called the golden age of radio. It was a time when radio was the most important electronic form of entertainment in American homes, before television became popular. Button.
All right, I'm going to stop it there. So I don't know if you caught that. So it gave me the initial response, and then it put under a heading level 3 the history part, and it talked about how these are entertainment from the golden age of radio. And Max, you should correct me or correct the AI if that's not accurate information, right? Notice also that it said something about since you love science fiction entertainment. So how did it know that, right? So Gemini is my default go-to AI for a lot of things. So it has learned things about me that I have voluntarily shared. So it knows that I like science fiction and Star Trek, and so it kind of brought that in there. Anytime I mention something with the color blue, it will also make a reference. Something like if you like, and since you like blue, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to hit H for heading and see what it takes us to next on the old time radio prompt.
A brief history heading level 3.
So it takes me into a brief history. So let's see what it says about a brief history.
Heading level 3, a brief history. The golden age of radio took place roughly from the 1920s through the 1950s. Button 1. The start, 1920s. Commercial radio stations began popping up and people started buying radio sets for their homes. At first, it was...
All right, so it starts giving me a breakdown of, and it's a bulleted breakdown. So it's following my directions of putting the information in bulleted items. And it tells me about how this began in the 1920s when people started buying radios. All right, I'm going to skip that and hit H for the next section.
Why people found it entertaining, heading level 3.
Why people found it entertaining. I'm going to guess, and we'll see because I haven't read this. If I were a person living in the 1920s and listening to radio, why would I find that entertaining? Well, television didn't exist then, and maybe it was a form of easier form of accessing information because maybe not everybody had easy access to books. I don't know. That's my guess. So here goes.
Heading level 3, why people found it entertaining. For people living in that era, radio was captivating for many reasons. 1. It was the ultimate escapism. In a time of economic struggles, the Great Depression and war, World War II, radio offered a free way to escape reality and enter a world of adventure, laughter, or romance. Button 2. It engaged the imagination. Since you had no visual image, your brain had to do the work. The sound effects, like creaking doors, a galloping horse, or a speeding train.
There we go. The visual part, all the sound effects and all that. I'm gonna make an analogy and say that old time radio back then is sort of like how people enjoy graphic audio now. Which is some of your favorite novels that are dramatized with sound effects and all that kind of stuff to kind of make it sort of like a movie from your book while sticking to the same idea of the original book. All right, so this is Gemini. All right, I'm going to switch over to my next virtual friend.
Claude document, link upgrade.
All right, so this is Claude, and of course, Claude, I'm using the free version of this, so Claude wants me to upgrade to the paid Claude. I'll talk about the paid options in a bit.
Menu button.
So I'm going to go to the edit field.
Write your prompt to Claude, edit multi-line. How can I help you today? D/OJVBP.
All right, so here we go.
How can I help you today? Out of edit, write your prompt to Claude, edit.
And I'm going to paste in that same prompt.
Technical terms.
All right.
My people, hello, I'd like to know about old time radio. Please tell me its
Yep, so it's
technical
got
term.
the same prompt. I'm going to press enter.
Claude document, write your prompt to Claude, edit multi-line, reply to Claude.
Now, this is where it's a little different. Gemini told me right away that it was typing or thinking, or whatever, and when it was
Linda
done.
Faust has joined the meeting alert.
Claude doesn't do that, so I have to periodically check
Scroll
it.
to bottom button.
So let's see if it's giving me the response
No
yet.
previous heading. Retry menu button, collapse button. Button menu blank. Link Claude can make mistakes. Button scroll to write your prompt to Claude, edit multi-line blank. Out
So
of
there's
edit
my
toggle button,
prompt.
toggle button, sonnet 4.5. Menu button.
I got to go up to the
link
top of the
menu
page. Now, one thing about the Claude navigation is it doesn't have easy headings the way Gemini does. So that is a little different on the web interface.
Menu button art. Hello.
I'm just hitting down arrow
People
here.
find it entertaining. Please.
Okay, so there's my prompt.
Button. Hello, I'd love to tell you about old time radio.
There it is. Okay, so this is the prompt. So I don't know exactly how long it took it because it did not verbalize that
Linda
to
Faust
me
has
through
left
the
the meeting
screen
alert.
reader. Okay, so let's see what Claude says about old time radio.
Hello, I'd love to tell you about old time radio. What it is. Old time radio refers to the golden age of radio entertainment, roughly from the 1920s through the 1950s. Before television became widespread, families would gather around their radio sets in their living rooms to listen to dramatic shows, comedies, adventures, mysteries, and more. These weren't just news broadcasts or music. They were fully produced stories with actors, sound effects, music, and narration that painted pictures in listeners' minds. The history. Radio broadcasting began in the early...
All right. So it gave me a brief summary of it, and it also said it was from around the 1920s to the 50s, and it talked about how people would listen to the radio because there were no TVs around then, right? In my opinion, that first summary in that first paragraph answered more than what Gemini provided. And I love Gemini. Like I said, Gemini is my primary go-to for things, but I have to give Claude that thumbs up is if I'm asking about a topic I don't know about or don't know that much about, its initial summary was, in my opinion, a little more informative than Gemini's initial summary. Although I do like the way Gemini separated things into headings, Claude didn't do
The Great
that.
Depression and world radio broadcasting began in the early 1920s, but it really took off in the 1930s and 1940s. During Louis
All
Maurer
right.
left the meeting.
So now it talks about some of the other stuff
The Great
here.
Depression and World War II.
Great Depression.
Information for most of which aired at specific.
Information.
Some of the most Ranger, a Western adventure, Fibber McGee and Molly, a comedy.
And this is also giving me examples of some of the old time radio shows that were there. Now, Gemini possibly did that later in the prompt, and I just didn't move down far enough. One thing about Gemini is it's going to give a lot of details. Remember, Gemini has Google at its fingertips to search through, whereas Claude may also have Google, but other resources. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, next one. I'm going to switch tabs.
Perplexity document. Ask.
And this time we're going to use Perplexity. So Perplexity is another AI service, and Perplexity uses some of the same language learning models that Claude uses. I think it uses the Sonnet model, so some of the answers may be the same, but the interface is different and how it handles information is a little different. So I'm going to paste this.
Hello, I'd like to know about old-time Louis.
All right, so it's the same
Highly
prompt as
technical.
before. I'm going to press enter.
Ask a follow-up edit multi-line blank.
And that one is also not telling me when the answer was generated. Okay, so far, in terms of automatically
Ask a
telling
follow-up
me
edit
that
multi-line blank.
through the screen reader, Gemini does it the best. Now, that last prompt there where it says ask a follow-up, it said that on its own. So I'm going to assume that Perplexity has now generated its response.
Button.
So I'm going to move up
Button copy.
here.
Button not button helpful. Button 10 source. Button
Yep.
HTTP. Button HTTPS.
There it is.
Ask anything. Heading level 1.
Now, it did not put it in headings the way Gemini does, but I am able to use the previous heading to get back to my original prompt, so I can just hit down arrow from
Button
there.
edit query. Button copy query. Button answer. Button images. Button sources.
So I'm moving
Button
down.
steps. Link end.wikipedia. Link Wikimedia found. Link Golden Age of Radio. Link Facebook.com Favica. Link Facebook. Link Introduction to Old-Time Radio Dramas and Personal Experience.
Here we
Link
go.
archive.org. Link
Let
archive.org.
me actually
No previous edit. Ask anything. No previous heading.
go to the
Button download.
previous
Button
prompt
share.
here.
Button book. Button blank. Install. Button. Button upgrade. Button.
Okay,
Blank,
it wants me to
button,
install
button,
and
button,
upgrade.
heading
I
level
went
1. Ask
up
it. Button
too
edit.
far.
Button copy. Button answer. Button images. Button sources. Button steps.
Yep. So the way I was where I was talking about the old time radio with the Facebook groups and all that. That is the beginning
Link
of the prompt.
Link Wikimedia
So I'm
found.
moving down. Wikimedia.
Link Golden Age of Radio. Wikipedia.
It gives me links to the Golden Age of Radio through Wikipedia.
Link Facebook.com Favican.
There's a
Link Facebook. Link Introduction to Old-Time Radio Dramas.
Facebook
Link archive.org Favican.
link,
Linda
archive.org.
Swanson has joined the meeting.
So it's giving me all these links, but it really hasn't answered my question yet. So I'm going to keep moving
Link
down.
old time. Link Edmund. Link top 6. Read button top 6. Button old time rate. Button radio. Button golden. Button ant. Button on the button. Old time radio, also known as the Golden Age of Radio, refers to a period from the early 1920s to the 1950s
here we
when
go.
radio was the dominant form of home entertainment in the United States. During this
20s to 50s. That's pretty consistent.
time, families gathered around radios to listen to a wide variety of programs, including dramas, comedies, mystery serials, soap operas, quiz shows, sports play-by-plays, and children's shows. It was the first broadcast medium that brought live performances and news directly into people's homes, creating a shared cultural experience. The appeal of old-time radio lies in its storytelling power. Without visuals, the show's voices, sound effects, and music.
All right, so it's very similar to the way Claude gave the information, probably because they use a similar language learning model.
As they picked variety of genre, people found it entertaining because
Or
it was
large
excessive
learning
family
model.
event.
Large
Suspense
language model. I'm getting my L's mixed
made
up.
the listening experience simplicity compared to the recordings were originally done live or preserved on special discs called electrical transcriptions. Today, many of these old programs are preserved digitally and can still be enjoyed by enthusiasts.
All right, so hopefully Max, everything it's talking about is spot on and correct. If I were Max, I might ask it to maybe dive a little deeper into one aspect of it, like maybe tell me about some of the more popular shows specifically from the 30s or from the 40s, and really dig deep down. Where can I get some of these digitally preserved copies? That kind of stuff. All right, so that's Perplexity. Something about Perplexity is, and this is true for a lot of these, they all have paid upgrades that give you access to more resources, more information, and some of them you can get free through different means. Others, they are, monthly paid options, and on average, they cost around $20 a month. That seems to be the going rate for the expanded versions
Swanson has
of
left the meeting
these
alert.
AIs. Perplexity, for example, Uber had a deal last year where if you were an Uber One member, you got Perplexity for free. I took advantage of that and used Perplexity enhanced version for about a year or so. I think right now there is another deal with Perplexity where if you have a Venmo account and you link your Venmo with Perplexity, you may be able to get it for free. I don't qualify because I already used the offer through Uber, but that's something you may want to look into if you want to use Perplexity. Claude may have one. ChatGPT may have some. I do know that with Microsoft and Copilot, you get an enhanced one depending on which version of Windows 365 you have. It'll come with an enhanced one. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that a little bit when I get to the Copilot one. All right, so moving on to the next one.
ChatGPT document section.
All right, ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is, in many opinions, the Cadillac of the modern AI. When a lot of people think about AI prompts and who you're going to chat with, the first people they think about is ChatGPT. And don't get me wrong, ChatGPT is nice and it's accessible and it does a lot of neat things. But for me, when I talk about entertainment, I always go back to Gemini for entertainment, but ChatGPT is great for things like helping you write agendas, helping you write grants, helping you write complex documents. And I'm sure it's good for a lot more things, but I'm just sharing my personal experience with it. So I don't dislike any of these AI models, but I do have my preferences as to which ones I use for what. So I'm going to paste the prompt into ChatGPT.
Hello, I'd like to know about old-time radio.
All right, so there it is. I'm going to press enter.
ChatGPT is generating a response.
Now that one is talking to me about the response. And let's see if
ChatGPT is still generating a response. ChatGPT is still generating a response. ChatGPT says old-time radio, sometimes called the golden age of radio, refers to the period roughly from the 1920s through the early 1950s when radio was the main source of entertainment and news in American homes. Before television took over, families would gather around the radio the same way people later gathered around the TV to laugh, cry, imagine, and connect. Star what it was. Star old-time radio programs covered just about everything you can think of.
All right, I'm going to stop it. So a couple things to note about ChatGPT. For this particular topic, it took about twice as long to get the information than it took Gemini. For you, that may not be a deal breaker, right? Remember when I said for entertainment stuff like books and movies, Gemini is my go-to. And that's one of the reasons. Gemini gives me the answers a lot quicker than ChatGPT does. One of the advantages, though, of ChatGPT is the accessibility. I didn't have to do anything. As soon as I press enter, it told me that it was generating the response. It told me when it was done, and it started reading it automatically. None of the other ones have done that so far. The only one that came closest is Gemini so far, where it told me that it was writing the response and that it had written it, but then I had to go and manually go and get it. And then Claude and Perplexity did neither. It didn't tell me that it was generating the response, and I had to go find it manually, and neither Claude nor Perplexity used headings so that I can quickly find the answer. It's not a bad thing. I'm not pointing it out as, oh, don't use Claude or Perplexity. I'm pointing it out simply to note the differences, because that might make a difference to you in how you interact with some of these. And maybe you might decide that maybe you do like Perplexity, but maybe you don't like it as much on the computer, so you're going to use the app instead. And that's something that we'll talk about in our second hour.
2:44 p.m.
Which we're almost done with the first hour. If I wanted to review this through ChatGPT, I can just hit Shift-Tab, and it goes into my browse mode. I'm using NVDA. I didn't mention that before, but you're going to get similar responses through JAWS.
ChatGPT said, heading level 6.
And it does put it in heading, so I was able to do a Shift-H for that previous heading, and now I can just move down arrow line by line.
Old-time radio, sometimes called the golden age of radio.
And there it is. So it's very easy to get to to the history there or the conversation so I can get to it. So in my mind, so far, Gemini and ChatGPT are the most accessible through the web browser interface. That's not to say that Claude and Perplexity are not accessible, but in my opinion, they're not as accessible. Hopefully that makes a difference. And then the last one, I'm actually going to switch over to Copilot and do this last demonstration of Copilot for this, and then I'm going to pause for some questions.
Screen sharing meeting control. Document 1. Word star movies with an AI. Copilot 5 of 5. Copilot. Ask anything. Edit. This is a multi-line text.
Now for Copilot, I only shared my browser window, so you'll hear the audio through this, but you're not going to see it visually if you have some vision to see this. So you're going to have to trust the audio. So I've got Copilot running, and I'm going to paste the same prompt, and we're going to see what happens. Now I have a Windows Surface computer that I'm running, and so the Surface computer comes with Copilot built in. I have it as one of my keys on the keyboard, and I have it pinned to my taskbar and all that. But if you don't have a Surface computer, you can still get Copilot. It's part of the Windows 11 system, and there's other ways to get Copilot, but that's you can even do the web interface. But I just went ahead and just did the app since it's here, and it's a lot friendlier, I think. So I'm going to paste this prompt.
People find it entertaining. Please provide the answer without using highly technical terms.
There's the prompt. I'm going to press enter, and let's see what happens.
Copilot is preparing your response. Copilot is still processing your request.
We're waiting. We're
Copilot
still
has completed the response.
All right.
Old-time radio was the main form of home entertainment from the 1920s to the 1950s, offering drama, comedy, music, and news through sound alone. People loved it for its storytelling, imagination, and sense of community. Number radio. What is old-time radio? Old-time radio, often called the Star Golden Age of radio. Star refers to a period when radio
I'm going
was...
to pause it. So you'll notice that the experience with Copilot was very similar to ChatGPT. It told me when it was generating the response, and it told me when it was done, and it started reading it automatically. That's really cool. What I don't find cool for me personally is that it took about the same time as ChatGPT to give me this information. Gemini is still the fastest for that. That's not to say that Copilot and ChatGPT are not fast in their own right. Depending on what information you're asking it to do or provide,
Linda Swanson has joined the meeting alert.
then you might find that it's a little faster or better for you than Gemini. So I'm in the app here. I can tab around.
Open chat mode menu. Ask anything. Edit this. Copilot may make mistakes. Your conversations are personalized. List. Hello. I'd like to know about old time.
It took me to a list here.
Old time radio was.
And it gives me the prompt right there. Now, the thing with the app is that when it gives me the prompt in this way, when I hit up or down arrow, it's in a list form. So it gives me the entire answer as one, arrow up or arrow down reads me the whole thing. So I can't go line by line like I can through the web interface through the other AIs.
Old time radio was the main form of home.
But
Citation 3 button.
I can tab once, and then it goes into the response,
Citation,
and then
hello,
I can up or down arrow through this and give me a
Old
little
time
more
radio was the main
control.
Citation.
And it gives me the citations or the website.
Citation 3 button.
Where it gets the information
Citation 3
from.
button.
I'm just tabbing
Citation
through.
1 Wikipedia. Citation 2 Britannica link.
So it has Wikipedia, Britannica.
Citation 3 Rusk old time radio link.
Rusk old time
Good
radio.
response toggle button not pressed 1 to 4.
And then all of them, you may have heard this as I've been demonstrating this, all of these have good response, bad response, and that's where you can kind of give it feedback. That's for the developers to take and say, okay, maybe I asked it, what color are apples? And it said that all apples are red. Well, I might give that a bad response because that's just simply not true. Apples can be green. They could be yellow. They could be a shade of anywhere from green to yellow. They can be orangish. They can even be white, and they can be blue. They're rare, but they can be those colors. And so if you know for certain that a response is not a good one, whether it's an uncomfortable response or just a blatantly wrong response, then you should certainly give them feedback so that they can make the model better in the future. Okay, so I'm going to transition to something else here with these models. But before I do that, I do want to take some time for questions. So remember, unmute, say your name, and ask us your question. And I'm going to monitor time here to see. So I don't want to say we have time for 2 or 3 questions. It just depends on how the answers go for each. All right.
Hello, this is David.
Hey, David.
Hi, my question is regarding the using of Safari. I'm a Mac user, and I've tried using ChatGPT, but it seems to be a bit buggy on Safari. So I want to know, should I use Chrome on the Mac for ChatGPT or any other type of browser?
That has also been my
Linda Swanson has left the
experience.
meeting alert.
So what you describe is similar to what I've experienced. I would recommend Chrome. I know, I'll be honest, I haven't used ChatGPT on Chrome from the Mac in a while, but I have used Gemini recently, and it definitely works. So I would expect that that ChatGPT may give you some better results through Chrome in the Mac.
Okay, and then my only other question is regarding, are you familiar with any software or AI that's designed for visual arts like filmmaking or videography, things like that?
So some of these AI models do have like what they have their enhancements where they'll do more things. Like for example, um, Gemini has the banana feature where it can generate images. But if you're talking about to help you edit videos, there are some that do it, but I confess I don't know which ones do it better than others.
Okay.
What I would actually suggest is that you, it sounds like it's a feeding into it, right? But ask 2 or 3 of the different AIs which ones are the best for video editing, which ones offer the video editing features, because there's a whole bunch of LMs that I haven't even talked about that aren't your typical ones, but they also work with either generating or editing videos. And so there are going to be some out there that are going to do things a little bit better than others. Don't be surprised if what you're looking for is a paid feature, because they're going to use up more cycles, more API calls or whatever, and so they're going to want some compensation for that.
Okay.
This is Karen.
Karen,
I just wondered, can you give a little bit of, I don't know, insight about, okay, so all of these seem to have free versions and paid versions. What are they describing as, what, do we need the paid version or can we use the free version, or how do you determine that?
good question, and I'm glad you asked. So as I mentioned, a lot of these are $20 a month on average is what you can expect. Examples of free versus paid. If you're going to ask it these kinds of questions like what I did, and you're going to have what I would consider regular conversations like, let's talk about top 10, songs of this week, or let's talk about old time radio, or let's talk about Star Trek. Get into that. Then those are free features, and you probably don't need to pay for it. Like what David was talking about earlier with the videography, and doing some deep dive into other stuff, or if you needed to do deep research, that's going to be a paid feature. So I'll give an example of a deep research that I had Gemini do, and some of these will give you free paid paid features for, like a limit, like you might have a limit of 5 queries that are part of the paid features per day, or they might give you 1 per day, or they might give you 10 in a 1 hour time frame. So they'll do different things. So one of the deep researches that I had ChatGPT do, or Gemini, I can't remember, it doesn't matter. But what it was is I wanted to find out which which pieces of legislation have been signed into law since the 70s, from the 70s all the way to the present, that have to do with people being blind, and that have affected people in a positive way who are blind, and that were influenced, or that the National Federation of the Blind was a part of. That's something that you can't do with a regular prompt or query, because it's just going to give you regular Google searches of stuff, and it'll give you a basic summary. But to actually write an entire report on that required a deep research, and it actually took it more than 30 minutes to find the information I needed. And when it was done, it gave me a long report that I think was a good 20 pages long, that gave me a history of, starting from the 70s, of different legislation and different laws and different things that have helped people, blind people, in a positive way, and where the NFB was either instrumental or a part of that legislation to help make it happen. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that would be an example of free versus paid. Another example, and I've seen some of them give you a limit of 2 or 3 per day to do this. I have generated images. So, for example, I play Dice World, and Dice World's a really good game on iOS platform and Android platform. And I really believe that people should have a profile or a picture of some kind in their stuff. And sometimes I forget and don't add one. But for Dice World, I didn't want to use my regular picture. So what I did is I had Gemini create an image for me that I could use for a profile. And it did it as one of the free features, part of the Gemini 2.0 feature that was being tested. This was before the banana image generator came out. And so if you play Dice World against me, or with me, or however you want to look at it, it's a picture of a penguin that has some dice. I can't remember if the penguin's rolling dice or if he's holding dice in his wing. And the reason I did that is because I like penguins, and so I did that. So I generated a penguin profile. Sometimes I'll create a playlist on Spotify or whatever, and I want to generate a cover for the playlist. So one of the playlists that I generated was called the Anti-Love Songs playlist. So instead of it being your typical love songs, it's basically hate songs or breakup songs. And so the avatar for that one showed a person sitting on a rock, playing a guitar, looking lonely, and he's like in a desert landscape. And so to get to that image, I actually chatted with Gemini and I said, this is what I'm looking for. Please make some suggestions. And so we went back and forth on refining the idea. And then finally, when I came up with the thing I wanted, I gave it the final prompt and said, please generate an image that shows this and this and this and this, and shows this and this and this. And I got my picture for my playlist, which, by the way, my wife thinks is really weird that I created an anti-love playlist. But that's a whole different topic.
So I think, this is Stacie, so I think you should talk to them about the avatar that you created for My Dice World.
I can, but people might leave Zoom if I tell them that. So
Hi.
Stacie loves the New England Patriots football team. And so for her, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Stacie, for her, I created one that basically shows a penguin wearing a Patriots jersey.
I think it's a Patriots cheerleading uniform.
Yes, it's a cheerleading penguin with the Patriots uniform. So there we go. Okay, so we have time for 2 more questions before I move on.
Hi.
Hi there, what's your name?
My name is Rosetta Stone, and the reason I'm asking this question is because I turned my Microsoft my computer on, my Windows computer, and I see Copilot, and I didn't know, I know you mentioned that, but how do I interact with Microsoft Copilot?
So you open the app itself. So, I don't know if you're a screen reader or low, high contrast user, whatever, right? So you basically open it, click on it, press enter on it, however you do that, and you're essentially there. And if you are signed in with your Microsoft account, it will ask you if you want to sign into Copilot with that same Microsoft account, and remember those things. And so once you're there, you basically tab around and it'll have the prompt, where you type
From
in
David E. to
stuff,
everyone, Stacie.
and it'll give you the information, as you type or whatever, just like I used it last. So that's one way to interact with it. The other way, and I was going to show this next before switching over to the phone, is you can actually interact with Copilot if you have the Copilot feature enabled through Excel or Word. and have it do things that are relevant to Excel or Word.
Okay.
Right? So hopefully that
Mhm.
answers your
Yes.
question.
Thank you so much.
You're
Raul,
welcome.
this is Sarah.
Yes, Sarah.
Quick question. I noticed when you demoed, I believe that was Copilot that listed, did it automatically give you citations? Because one of the reasons I lean toward Perplexity, it gives me sources of where they got the information, but I'm unable to typically get it from ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini every now and then. So I was curious, was
It
there a
did.
prompt or did it just automatically do that?
It does do that. And like for example, with Gemini, and Claude and ChatGPT, it put them toward the end of the chat. Perplexity puts them at the beginning. And Copilot put them toward the end as well. I had to tab through them. One thing that you can do is you teach the AI how you want it to give you information. So at the end of your prompt, especially if you know that you want sources, you could even add another phrase that says, please list the sources in a bulleted list so that I can find them easily.
Okay, because I was wondering if it was paid versus free version or
No,
something.
that's all part of the free.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you so much.
One of the other things that you can do with the AI is talk to it with your voice as well. Some of them work a little better from the app on the phone, and some of them work equally from the phone app or from the computer app. So the only two I'm going to demonstrate for that are going to be Copilot and ChatGPT before I move on to the phone usage. So it'll be a really good segue. So right now I'm already focused on Copilot.
Add response toggle. Copy button 3 of edit in a page button for Copilot may make mistake. Ask anything. Edit. This is a multi-line text. Open chat mode menu. More options button Alt. Share screen with talk to Copilot button Alt T.
There we go. And I could have used the hotkey Alt T to talk to Copilot, but I wanted to just tab through it just because I can. And but if you know the hotkeys, if you use these every day, after a while you'll know the hotkeys, and so it won't matter. All right, so I'm going to talk to it. I've already defined a voice, and the voice should come through because I'm sharing my audio. So hopefully this will come through here. Here we go.
Microphone. Stop talking.
Welcome
Button
back. So diving back into the world of old-time radio, it's fascinating how it brought stories to life through sounds alone. People really connected with it, didn't they?
They sure did, but I don't want to talk about old-time radio right now. We're going to switch topics.
Microphone.
Absolutely. I'm ready to switch topics. What's on your mind?
Well, I was thinking that I will be married to Stacie for 7 years later this month, and I would like some ideas for a really nice wedding anniversary present.
Microphone.
Celebrating 7 years is special. How about a personalized gift to mark the occasion? You could create a custom photo album or a piece of art with memories from your years together. Or perhaps plan a getaway to a place she's always wanted to visit. What's your vibe? Thoughtful, adventurous, or a mix?
Well,
Microphone.
She doesn't think I can cook all that well, so I really want to create a really nice meal that she will like.
Cooking a special meal is a wonderful idea. Think about her favorite flavors or cuisines and plan a menu around that. You could start with a simple yet elegant appetizer. Follow with a main course that's hearty but not too complex. And finish with a homemade dessert that shows off your effort. Maybe try a classic like steak or a pasta dish she loves.
Oh, she doesn't like steak. Can't do steak. No steak, no brisket, no ribs, none of that fun stuff. So it'll probably have to be something like chicken.
Microphone.
Got it. Chicken it is. How about a fancy roast chicken with herbs? You can pair it with some garlic mashed potatoes and a side of roasted vegetables. Add a simple yet elegant dessert like a chocolate mousse, and you'll have a meal to impress. And don't forget a nice bottle of wine to complement the meal. Think she'll like that?
I think so. Now, can you tell me, because I'm kind of a newbie with wines, which kind of wine pairs really well with, like, let's say, a chicken pasta?
Microphone.
For a chicken pasta, a light to medium-bodied white wine, like Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc, works well. If she prefers red, a light Pinot Noir would complement the dish without overpowering it. Happy to help you pick the perfect bottle. Cheers to a lovely anniversary celebration.
Thank you for that.
Microphone.
Now, question, are you able to send me these suggestions either through email or save them to a Word document?
Microphone.
I can't directly send emails or create Word documents, but I can certainly help you organize your ideas, and then you can easily copy and paste them into an email or Word document. How does that sound?
That sounds
Microphone.
good. I will be back later. Thank you so much.
Microphone.
You're welcome.
Share
Looking
screen
forward
with
to helping you
microphone
more.
button on voice
Take
settings
care.
button, open sidebar but home button alt, more actions button alt A. All history and appeal of all time.
All right, so I've closed it.
Screen sharing meeting controls 2, document 1, word 3 of document 1.
So that's one of the voice chats. Nobody said anything while I was doing that, so I'm assuming everybody heard that. It's got 8 different voices to choose from, and you'll find that a lot of these have different voices. Some of them are more pleasant than others. Some of them are kind of weird. Some of them are kind of annoying. Some of them are creepy. Um, you have to choose for yourself what's going to be right. There is no, just like the voice for NVDA and JAWS and VoiceOver, there is no right or wrong as to which voice your AI will have. So the voice that I chose for Copilot, to me, kind of sounds like this older librarian kind of person. I figured that she kind of sounds educated, so it kind of makes me feel okay and comfortable with asking questions about how do I cook something for my wife so she's happy, right? I wouldn't want a younger, cheery voice doing that, because then I feel like that I wouldn't take her quite as serious. But that's me, right? So there's no right or wrong on that.
Document 1, word.
All right, so now I'm going to switch over to ChatGPT and do something similar, and you're going to notice the difference in the voice.
All-time radio history, Google Chrome 2 of 4. All-time radio history, Google Chrome window, alt, copy toggle button not pressed.
All right, so I'm in ChatGPT right now. So what I'm going to
Link skip
do,
to content.
I'm going to go to the top here.
Chat history, open conversation, open conversation, open conversation, open conversation options, open conversation options menu. Link
And I'm
skip
gonna
heading
tell it
left
we're gonna
visited
do a
link
new
home button
one.
expanded close side visited link new chat. Section multi-line editable ask anything. ChatGPT, Google.
Okay, now there are hotkeys that you can use from the web browser to do a new chat, repeat the chat, read the conversation, that kind of stuff. So I urge you to look at those settings and look at them. But otherwise, if you know how to browse pages, and it's very simple browsing, go to the top, go to new, etc. You'll find the links or the buttons that you need in that section as well. So I've got a new prompt here.
DD files and more menu.
And this time, instead of typing, I'm going to go over
Dictate button,
to
but start voice mode button.
Start voice mode. All right. So I'm going to do the same thing, and somebody else give me a different topic to talk about. So we've got Star Trek, we've got cooking for the wife, we've got old time radio. Somebody else, go ahead and give me a topic. Something I don't know anything about.
Well, football is happening today. The Texas Longhorns are playing this evening.
All right. So let's talk about football, Texas Longhorns. All right, let's go into voice mode.
Section multi-line editable ask.
Hi there. I want to talk to you a little bit about college football. How about that?
Absolutely. I'd love to chat about college football. Are you interested in a specific team or conference, or just general info about the sport?
Southeastern Conference, specifically the Texas Longhorns. My wife Stacie loves the Texas Longhorns, so I want to talk about them so that I could be a little more educated and I can pretend to know what I'm talking about.
That's awesome. The Texas Longhorns are definitely a powerhouse in the Southeastern Conference. They've got a rich history, some legendary players, and a passionate fan base. Anything specific you want to know about them?
How are they doing this season?
The Texas Longhorns are having a solid season so far with a 4-2 record. They just had a big win over Oklahoma, which push them back into the AP Top 25 rankings at number 21. They're actually playing Kentucky later today, so it's an exciting time for them.
Who is the favored team to win today?
It looks like Texas is the favorite today with a spread of 12.5 points over Kentucky. So hopefully they'll keep up their winning streak.
Can you describe their uniforms, like their logos and their colors?
Absolutely. The Texas Longhorns are known for their iconic burnt orange and white colors. Their main logo is a silhouette of a longhorn steer, which is a white longhorn head with large horns. They typically wear white jerseys with burnt orange numbers and accents, and their helmets are white with the longhorn logo on the side. It's a very distinctive and recognizable look.
I'm curious because I think that the colors for the Whataburger fast food chain are also orange and white. Is it a different shade of orange than Whataburger?
Yes, that's a fun connection. The Longhorn burnt orange is definitely a distinct shade from Whataburger's orange. The Longhorn's burnt orange has a deeper, more muted tone, while Whataburger's orange is a bit brighter and more vibrant. But it's definitely a fun coincidence that they share similar colors.
Okay, thank you. That's all I needed
Ask
for now.
anything. Add files and
You're
more
very
menu but
welcome.
slash.
If you ever have more
Add voice
questions or
mode
just want to
button.
chat, feel free to reach out. Have a great one.
Section multi-line edit.
All right, so during that chat, I was still in the forms mode at the prompt, so I could have typed something in there. So I went back into the virtual navigation and found the button that says end chat, but I also told it. Something that I've told the different AI models as I chat with them in voice mode is, I'll remind them, I'll say something like, I am blind and using a screen reader, so if you hear other voices in the background other than my own, it is okay to ignore them. And by prompting it that way, it helps it so that on some of them that can be interrupted, or if they stop talking because they hear other noises like your voiceover or your jaws or whatever, it kind of disrupts the flow and makes it so that it works a little bit better and they don't stop quite as much. So that's something that I do because it just makes it a little easier. You'll notice that the ChatGPT voice, it's not my favorite, I'm going to be honest. She kind of pauses too much, like trying to make it sound human-like, and has sort of like these ums and these little pauses, and I get why they're doing it, but it's kind of annoying at times. So, and see, I'm doing it now. But it can be changed so that the personality is a little different, and it can be arranged so that it uses a different type of voice. If you want a voice that sounds more male, or kind of in between, sort of ambiguous, you can certainly make it sound that way. All right. So before we switch to the phone apps and talk about some of the things you can do with the phone apps, are there any other questions in the areas that I've covered so far?
Document 1, Word, screen sharing, meeting control, document. Linda Faust raised hand alert. Linda Faust
Go
raised
ahead.
hand alert.
Yes,
Yep,
I have
go
a
ahead, Linda.
question.
So we got Linda with a raised hand. Go ahead and unmute, Linda.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, well, I appreciate the presentation, but I and probably others that are also hearing impaired, it's hard to hear when Jaws is talking and you're explaining at the same time, and I'm hoping that something could be done to alleviate that. Thank you.
Linda Faust has lowered hand alert.
Thank you for that, and I really should be more respectful of that, and I wasn't thinking, so I'm glad you brought that up, and I will do my best to not
you.
talk while the speech is talking. Thank you. All right. Any questions? I heard your name, Sailor, but just in case anybody who hasn't had a chance to speak or ask a question, I want to give them a chance first. If anybody else has any questions? All right, Sailor, go ahead.
So,
We can hear you.
so all these
Well,
AI models, they do the same thing, like they just may provide different responses, or what?
that's correct. Some of them do it faster than others. Some of them provide information that's a little more accurate than others. And it's really a matter of which one are you going to go to for what kind of information, and how much effort do you want to put into getting that information?
Yep. Okay, awesome.
I almost forgot about this because I did mention I was going to do this. I have a Word document, and in this Word document, I wrote up by hand, the agenda for today's meeting. And I would like it to look more like a professional agenda. So I'm going to have JAWS or NVDA here read a little bit on this agenda so you can kind of have an idea of what this agenda says right now in the original form, and then how it's going to look when I have AI fix it up for me.
Page 1 agenda for the HAVIN workshop on Saturday, October 18th, 2025. Rate 25.
All right, here we go.
Agenda for the HAVIN workshop on Saturday, October 18th, 2025. The title of this workshop is Unlock the Power of AI, Practical Uses, Top Models, and the Future When. Saturday, October 18th, 2025, 2-4 p.m. Central Time. Presenters, Stacie and Gallegos from RGA Tech Solutions. You're invited to a concise, high-value presentation focused on using some...
So it gives a little bit of a description. Now I'm going to move down to the bulleted items.
Power for it blank. What we'll cover and what you...
Here we go.
What we'll cover and what you can do with AI. Bullet practical applications. AI can revolutionize your tasks, including writing better documents, helping you get recipes for the peanut butter lover, matching your clothes, discussing deep philosophical topics, and getting fast image descriptions. A key win for accessibility. Bullet top models demystified. A clear breakdown of the capabilities of ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot. Bullet the unfiltered frontier. We'll touch on the availability of uncensored AI models, like those accessible through Venice AI for those interested in exploring unrestricted use. Door prize, like with other HAVIN workshops.
Okay, so that's my description, and then I move down to talk about 5 minutes doing this, 10 minutes doing that, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all with Control A.
2235 character select.
And then Control C for copy.
Copy.
So I have this whole thing copied into my clipboard.
Page.
And I'm going to go over to Gemini.
College football discussion. Google. College football discussion. Hello, old time radio, Google Gemini document effects.
All of these still have the old time radio chat, so I need to start a new chat.
Button collapsed. Main menu Gemini 2.2.5 flash new chat button. Enter a prompt here. Edit multi-line. Ask Gemini.
All right, so I have a new prompt. I'm going to say, I have a draft agenda for my AI presentation today. Please fix this so it looks professional. The draft is pasted below. Please do not use tables. I want this to be as accessible as possible.
Draft is pasted below. Please do not use tables. I want this to be as spelling error accessible as possible.
I misspelled accessible, but it's going to know what I mean. Now with Gemini, if I press enter, it's going to send the prompt, and I don't want to do that. I want to paste my notes. So I'm going to press shift enter. And what that does is it puts a new line in the prompt without actually sending it.
Blank.
So I'm on a new line, and now I'm going to paste with Control V.
Blank. And spelling error blindness. Natalie West asks how I and spelling error. Nat Sailor asks blank. Blank.
Oh, those are the questions
blank.
I wrote. I'm going to actually take
Sailor
those
asks
out. We're not going to put the
blank
questions
unselected.
there. And I misspelled blindness, as you can tell.
Blank. Blank.
All right, here we go. I'm going to press enter.
Ask Gemini. Gemini is typing. Gemini replied.
And it's already generated the response. So now I'm going to shift to H, and we're going to see how it generates this agenda.
A. Show more op connection door prize heading key topics. What part 2? Smartphone app part 1. Workshop agenda heading workshop details and invitation. Unlock the power of AI. I have a draft agenda. Unlock the separate heading level 2 and here is the revised agenda for your AI presentation.
All right, so here it is, and now I'm going to hit down arrow.
Separator. Heading level 2. Unlock the power of AI. Practical uses, top models, and the future.
That's in headings.
Heading level 3. Workshop details and invitation. Table with 4 rows and 2 columns.
So I told it to not use tables, and it used tables, right? So this is a good example of how AI sometimes gets things wrong. And I might tell it to regenerate and not use tables, and then it will apologize for not listening to me or something like that. But we're going to keep going and see how it did this. And it might still be accessible. I think tables are accessible, but that was an example that I wanted to illustrate.
Presented by Roland Stacie Gallegos from RGA Tech Solutions. Date and time, Saturday, October 18th, 2025, 2 p.m.-4 p.m. Central Time. Out of table. Button export to sheets. Button copy table. You and your guests are invited to a concise, high-value presentation focused on leveraging today's most powerful AI tools. We will be discussing and demonstrating popular mainstream models, including ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, and a few others. This session is for anyone who wants to learn how AI can instantly boost productivity and enrich daily life. Separator. Heading Level 2 Workshop Agenda. This 2-hour workshop is structured to first cover the foundational concepts and desktop tools, and then shift to practical applications on smartphones. Heading Level 3 Part 1. Foundations and desktop/web models. 2 p.m.-3 p.m. Bullet 2 p.m.-2:05 p.m. General housekeeping and logistics. Bullet 2:05 p.m.-2:15 p.m. What is AI? A brief history.
All right, and it put the items in there in bulleted items. I had written down before in my draft 5 minutes for logistics, 15 minutes for this, 10 minutes for that, and it basically created the agenda for me in a bulleted list item. And now I can go and edit what it wrote in case I don't want it to do it a certain way. But I now have a lot of the basic editing done for me. And so the reason this is good is because if you are doing a presentation or a speech of some kind, or you're going to be publicly speaking and you have some notes and your notes are kind of all over the place, you can feed your notes into the prompts and have it create your agenda for you in whatever order you want. All right, so we're going to switch over to the phone. I'm going to disconnect.
Document 1. Screen sharing meeting. Screen.
All right, so I believe that's the sharing's disconnected. All right, now for the phone, I don't have my phone connected to the Zoom, but you'll be able to hear it pretty good through the speaker that I have here. So I'm just going to grab it. First, I'm going to talk about demonstrate some of the ones on the iPhone, and then I'm going to switch over to the Android. And some of them are very similar, but I do want to illustrate some of those differences as I do this. So I'm going to slow down the speech.
Accurate and uncensored tone. Facebook. Characters. Words. Speaking rate. 70, 66, 50, 45%. File. Facebook. Messenger. Just press record. Google Docs. Sync. Edit.
All right, so hopefully everybody can hear that. If anybody can't, that means that nobody can. Essentially, one person can't. So it should be coming through. Somebody will let me know, I'm sure. So I've got a few to demonstrate.
Spotify.
Not Spotify.
Copilot.
Here we go. All right, so I've got Copilot.
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT.
Be My Eyes.
Be My Eyes.
Ira Explorer.
Ira.
Easy C. AI. Seeing AI.
Seeing AI.
PixieBot.
PickyBot.
NFB Newsline.
And Gemini.
Perplexity.
Perplexity.
Claude. Page 2.
And Claude. Okay. You might think, okay, how is Ira and how is Be My Eyes an AI? And just so you know, they do have AI features. So I'm not going to talk about the other features that they have, but I'm going to focus strictly on the AI portion. I'm going to grab something here to get a picture of. So one of the things that, one of the questions that was asked earlier is how can AI help blind people? So I've demonstrated some of the prompts and some of the fun things that you can do, and a lot of those are really whether you're blind or not. How can it help from a visual aspect, right? So if I need some visual assistance, how can the AI help me? And so one of the most common methods is by having it identify things. So you can have it identify money, identify a shirt, read a logo, read your mail, do those kinds of things. We all still get snail mail, even though most of the snail mail that we get in this household are spam, requests for credit cards, mortgage loans, that kind of stuff we didn't ask for. I get mail still from somebody who lived in this house 10, 15 years ago. So we do get the snail mail, but occasionally some of it is legitimate. So using AI can help with that. If you get shipping boxes, shipping labels, if you need something described, you can certainly do that. So I'm going to demonstrate Be My Eyes.
Law, Perplex, Gemini, Copilot, ChatGPT, Be My Eyes. Beam, starting camera.
Be My Eyes has a feature that they started a couple of years ago, maybe longer, called Be My AI. And the Be My AI is a way that you can use the camera to get a picture of something, and it's going to describe it to you. I have come across people who think that that is all it can do. In other words, you get a picture of something and you might be able to ask it some more questions, and that's it. But I'm going to demonstrate how you can go a little further than that. So
326. Take picture.
all right,
Button.
so there's a take picture. I have an object here over to my left. I'm going to get a picture of it.
Take picture.
And then it's going to describe
wait.
it automatically. It said analyzing picture, please wait.
Light gray streaming remote with black buttons. Lying on a quilted gray blanket. The remote has a round navigation pad near the top, and a blue microphone button above it. Below are various action buttons, and at the bottom are shortcut buttons for services, Prime Video, Netflix, Disney Plus, and Peacock. There's also a light blue wrist strap attached to the remote. If you need to know the button layout or details for accessibility, let me know.
All right. So this is a picture of my Amazon Fire TV remote. And I've been using these remotes for years, so I know them like the back of my hand. But let's say that I didn't. I'm going to ask it a question.
Take picture, ask more, button.
So I'm going to flick over to ask more.
Message, text your message, image.
And it puts it in sort of like a text chat. So I'm going to
space, delete, space.
I'm going to actually dictate it just because that's faster than typing it on the regular keyboard, although I am able to do that. Focusing on the buttons at the bottom, can you tell me what they are going left to right, top to bottom? I believe that there are 4 of them.
Inserted focusing on the buttons at the bottom. Can you tell me what they are going? Left to right, top to bottom. I believe that there are 4 of them. Be My AI, send message, button.
All right, so I'm going to send that.
Send, please wait. Be My AI is writing a message. Be My AI, yes. At the very bottom of the remote, there are 4 rectangular shortcut buttons arranged in 2 rows. Going from left to right, top to bottom, the buttons are top left, Prime Video, label says Prime Video. Top right, Netflix, label says Netflix. Bottom left, Disney Plus, label says Disney Plus. Bottom right, Peacock, label says Peacock.
All right.
Each button is labeled with the logo or name of the streaming service it launches.
All right, logo or streaming service. Now, I like that because even though I'm a blind person, I like to know what logos look like.
Be My AI. Space, redelete.
So it has the conversation here ready for more questions. So I'm going to ask it my next question. Please tell me in details what the Disney Plus logo looks like and also what the Netflix logo looks like.
Inserted, please tell me in details what the Disney Plus logo looks like and also what the Netflix logo looks like. Send message, button.
All right, I'm going to send that.
Send, please wait. Be My AI is writing a message. Be My AI. The Disney Plus logo on the button is written in white text. It has the word Disney in the signature Disney script, which looks like a playful cursive style. The plus sign, plus, is simple and appears immediately after the word Disney. Above the word, there is a smooth, curved blue line arching from left to right, representing a shooting star or arc in the official Disney Plus logo. The Netflix logo on the button is the word Netflix in all capital letters. The text is bold and red. using a clean sans serif font. There are no additional designs or graphics. Just the prominent red text on a black background, making it stand out against the other buttons.
All right, now I'm going to ask it a question that doesn't necessarily have to do with this picture, but it does have to do with what it's talking about. Speaking of the Disney Plus logo itself, is this what the Disney Plus logo looks like when outside of the context of this remote? So for example, if I were to download the Disney Plus app or look it up on the website, is the logo the same?
Inserted speaking of Be My AI. Send message.
I'm going to send that
Send,
question.
please wait. Be My AI is writing a message. Be My AI is still right. Be My AI. The Disney Plus button on the remote shows a simplified version of the Disney Plus logo, but it is quite similar to what you'll see on the official app or website, with a few differences in detail. On the official Disney Plus website or app, the logo typically features the word Disney in the distinctive cursive Disney font, just like on the button. The plus sign plus following Disney, a sweeping, arched line above the text, meant to suggest a shooting star or arc. This is also present on the button, though sometimes less pronounced. Color and detail differences. On the actual app or website, the logo is often white or blue against a dark or navy blue background, and the curved arc may be a gradient or more prominent with a glowing effect. On the remote, due to space and printing limitations, the logo is minimal, usually just white text and a simple blue arc, without gradients or glowing effects. So, while the logo on the remote is nearly the same in shape and structure as the official Disney Plus logo, the version you see online or in the app is more detailed and visually enhanced. But it's definitely recognizable and based on the same design.
All right, so it kind of went outside of the original picture, and you'll notice, I don't know if you did notice, it took a little longer for that response. It even gave me a prompt or a progress to say still generating response. So it went out to the internet and got the information for what the regular Disney Plus logo looks like. So that's Be My AI. Ira is very similar, where people know about Ira as a visual interpreter, where you can connect with a agent who has been background checked to give you visual information, and people use it for all kinds of stuff. But they also have an AI feature called Ira Access, or Access AI. So I'm going to open Ira.
Ira Explorer. Access AI.
And I'm going to tab on the Access AI tab at the bottom.
Access AI heading. Quick capture and send button.
And there's a button that says quick capture and send. So again, I'm going to put the remote or the phone over the remote. And I'm doing this about maybe 8 to 10 inches above the remote. And I'm double tapping.
Capture, send, loading. Access AI is typing.
Now let's see how it describes the remote.
A light blue remote control with a matching wrist strap is resting on a gray quilted fabric surface. The remote has several buttons, including dedicated ones for Netflix, Disney Plus, and Peacock. The fabric beneath the remote has a soft texture and a diagonal, basket weave quilted pattern. The remote is positioned towards the lower left corner of the image.
Notice how it gave me some of those shortcut buttons. It gave me 3 of them, but it didn't give me all 4 of them or tell me in what order they're at. Not a bad thing, but it's a summary that's written in a different way. So I'm going to
detailed capture. Choose from gallery. Type a message. Text field.
Click right until it says type a message.
Insertion point.
And I'm going to dictate.
Point at end.
Please tell me the buttons on the bottom of the remote from top to bottom, left to right.
Inserted. Please tell me the buttons on the bottom of the remote from top to bottom, left to right. Q. O. Send.
Now in this one, the send button is right underneath the letter L, whereas on Be My AI, the send button is above the P, similar to your Messages app. So I'm gonna send.
Back button. Access AI is typing.
See what it tells us.
The buttons at the bottom of the remote, from top to bottom and left to right, are as follows. The first row has a Disney Plus button on the left and a Netflix button on the right. The second row has a Peacock button on the left and a circular button with a white ring. Its label is not visible on the right.
All right. So it could have been because of the angle of how I took the picture. So now let's say that I'm not sure about the information it's telling me.
Access AI chat. Verify with IRA agent button.
One of the features that it has is called Verify with IRA AI agent, or
Verify with IRA agent.
IRA
Verify
agent.
with IRA agent requested. Looking for an agent. An IRA agent is working on this request.
What it does is it sends the image and the text results to an agent person, a human being, who's going to verify visually if that information is correct. This does not cost you any minutes, and it doesn't cost you any time, and you get a human verified, yes or no. So this takes a little bit because it queues it up for a live person to be available and look at it and give you the response back. This is like watching water boil. While we wait, does anybody have any questions about the Be My AI or the IRA AI features?
Amazon Alexa.
It's still generating a response.
This is Melissa.
Yes, Melissa.
Hey, I actually had a question that's not necessarily related to those two, but have you worked with Ally?
Ally, like the Envision.
Yes, but it's a the app where it's also AI accessible and assistive.
Yeah, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. I have not. There are so many out there that people have choice. It's like the thing now. You know what I mean? So that's one that I have not given time to.
I like
Because
it.
Yep. I'm open to it. I'm always open to trying new stuff. So thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
And that's is it all free, or do they also have paid versions?
They actually they're starting to work on the paid versions, but right now it's free. I really like the response time and how natural it sounds.
Do you know which language model they're using?
That I'm not really sure,
Okay.
but I can look into it and
Yeah,
send that to
if
you.
you find out, let me know, because a lot of these programs like PickyBot and Be My AI and all these, the name of the app itself is the user interface. Where are the buttons? How accessible are they? But in the background, they're actually calling either Gemini or OpenAI or Sonnet or a lot of these other language models. So I'm actually kind of curious to see which one they may use.
Okay, I'll look it up while we're on this discussion.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So while we're chatting here, we got a verification, and let's see what the IRA agent says.
Please tell me the buttons on the bottom of a light blue remote image. Screenshot. Transfer to IRA. Verify with IRA agent. Dimmed. Access AI chat. Heading. Verify with transfer to IRA agent. Screenshot. Image. A light blue remote control with a matching wrist strap is resting on a gray quilted fabric surface. The remote has several buttons, including dedicated ones for Netflix, Disney Plus, and Peacock.
That's the original description, so I'm going to keep flicking right.
Please tell me the buttons on the bottom. The buttons at the bottom. IRA agent says, the request is beyond the scope of verification. Please call an IRA agent and we would be happy to assist you further.
I've never gotten that response. That is funny. I'm not sure why they wouldn't accept it, but it is what it is. This actually goes to show I'm not scripting this ahead of time to give you a perfect demonstration. And this is another reason why I think it's important to have more than one tool at your disposal, so that if one either doesn't give you the information you're looking for at all, or it doesn't give you the information you're looking for in the way you like it, or fast enough, or accessibly enough, then you have other choices. And there's a lot of them out there. Like I said, the ones that I'm talking about are just a few. There's a lot more. I could spend an entire 2 hours on talking about just the smart glasses that are out now. So we just simply don't have time. That's what it comes down to. All right.
Sure.
So I'm gonna close the IRA one.
Explorer.
Another thing that you can do with the Be My AI and the IRA AI is, in addition to getting pictures of objects, is you can take a picture of like your dog or your spouse or whatever, and get a description of it. The running joke in this household is I'll get a picture of Stacie every day, and I tell her I just need to verify that she's still blonde, and she hasn't been lying to me all these years, which of course is a funny point. And it's always a funny thing until the AI captures her hair in the wrong lighting, especially because she's a lighter blonde, and it'll say a woman with gray hair is, doing whatever, right? So it is kind of funny. Somebody said on the chat, and I didn't catch the name, but it uses multiple LMs. So there are some that will use multiple, and that way it kind of helps with the description of things.
That was me.
That was you. Okay. It
Yes.
uses multiple. Okay, good.
Yes.
Good to know. And that one of the other apps I was going to talk about is PickyBot. PickyBot is one of my favorites for describing pictures that you either take on your own, or you either take through the camera. It interfaces with the camera on your phone, or if you have a camera roll, you can share your pictures with PickyBot, or even with Be My Eyes and all that, and it will describe it in a pretty funny voice, or you can change it. But the cool thing about PickyBot is you can change which learning model it's using, so that the descriptions will be different based on what kind of questions you're asking.
Melissa again.
Yes.
Really quick, just on the creative side of it, Playground is also fun to mess with as well.
Oh, good. That's good to know. Playground. And if you can put those in the chat, because those will be saved in the transcript, so we'll have that. Because I'm not in a position to write that down right now, but that way it'll be saved there, so I'll be able to grab it later.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of these AI similar to what I did on the website, to show you what they're like on the phone.
340 Iron X Audible. Find my.
Okay.
Claude. Page 2, Claude.
All right, so first we have Claude, and Sylvia, you have a question? Go ahead, Sylvia.
And just a
So-
real quick time check, we have about 15 minutes.
Okay, so I will go through these. I'm not going to have time to specifically show the Android ones, but the Android interface for most of these is about the same. So if you're a TalkBack user, it's a very similar experience. I'm actually more comfortable with the Android one because I use them more from Android than I do iPhone. But they are definitely accessible. So Sylvia, if you have your question, go ahead and unmute and ask your question, but I'm going to go ahead and continue.
Yeah, it's a
there you
simple
are.
question is, I know that the apps are upgraded. So like, for example, Seeing AI, how often should I check if there's upgrades, and like, do I download a new one, or how do you handle that? Like, so or even the Meta one for the Meta glasses, like how often do they change, and should we every so often should we just upgrade our apps to make sure we have the latest model?
Good question. And so all of these apps are going to be free to download, even if they have paid versions, because you'll pay the company directly or through in-app purchases on that. So you can download and try them. As far as updating, that's kind of a no right answer for that, because some people feel that you should not update apps automatically in case it breaks accessibility. And that has happened. It has happened with ChatGPT. It's happened with Meta. It's happened probably with all of them where something breaks. So if you're comfortable and you don't want to mess with it, the default is to leave stuff to automatically update. But if you do update manually, I would say check at least every 2 weeks because something new is going to come around and get updated. Unless there's a specific app for me personally that requires it to stay accessible and it's kind of a medical or life and death situation or part of my work, I generally will update apps as soon as they come out, and I just have it set to automatic. And I have had it happen where, sometimes they break, and that's just the risk I take, unfortunately. Some of them I don't update automatically, and that's, if my work depends on it or whatever, I need to make sure because it's hard to roll back. So, but every 2 weeks I think is a good,
Okay.
good check. Say whether it's the Meta app or if you have the Meta glasses, like the Ray-Ban or the Oakleys,
Yeah.
they'll have their own firmware that gets updated every so often. Probably once a month or once every 2 months is when I see a new update roll out. And they have some pretty neat things. As a general rule, the Ray-Bans have stayed pretty stable. I don't think I've seen them break. So you're probably safe with that. There was a
Okay.
question in the registrations about somebody mentioning the people or the live AI feature, how it's not available in Texas. So I do want to bring that up for the benefit of the recording. It is my understanding that live AI features and certain other features, I think Ira has one called Astra. They're not available in Texas and in Illinois due to certain privacy laws that are in place. And so some of those features that may have been available through beta testing or whatever won't be available until either there's a workaround found for them in Texas and in Illinois, or they're modified or legislation changes on that. And so you might see some features that have to do with facial recognition and identification or stuff like that, where they're either not available at all or they're not fully available in places like Texas and Illinois due to those weird laws. For example, they're in the terms of service, and yes, I actually read these. For Be My AI, it actually says that technically you're not really supposed to take pictures of people if you live in Texas or in Illinois, but they don't stop you either. So sometimes you use it at your own risk. Some of these laws I think are kind of silly. I think in Alabama it's silly to walk around with an ice cream cone in your back pocket. So that'll give you an idea of some of these silly laws that are out there. Okay,
Okay. Thank.
so I'm going to show these real quick, and then we're going to take time for some questions. So I've got
ChatGPT, Be My Eyes, Iron, Easy, Amazon Alexa, Gemini, Perplexity.
All right, we're going to start with Perplexity.
Perplexity, text field, is editing, ask anything.
Now,
Ellipsis.
Perplexity has the Ask Anything mode where I can chat with it similar to a text message. But the part I want to show you is the voice mode because I didn't get a chance to show that to you from the website. The text chat mode is very similar on all of these as it is from the website, and generally it's as accessible as browsing through your chat history or text messages. So I'm not going to do a deep dive on that for time's sake, but I am going to go to the voice mode.
Microphone, voice to voice mode, button.
Here we go. Hi there. Please remember that I am using a screen reader, so if you hear background robotic voices, you can safely ignore those. How are you doing?
Hi there. I'm doing well. Thank you. And no worries. I'll make sure to keep things clear and concise for you. If you need any assistance or have specific requests, feel free to let me know.
I am curious about Perplexity itself. Which LMs or different models does it use to gather its information?
Perplexity AI uses various large language models, including models from OpenAI, Anthropic, and other providers, to gather and process information. It combines these models with its own retrieval system to provide accurate, up-to-date responses. Would you like more details on any specific part of that?
No, I want to talk about something else. I would like to talk about the JAWS screen reader. I'm a blind person and I use JAWS frequently, and I have a few questions about some of the hotkeys of JAWS features. Can you help me with those?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to help with that. What specific hotkeys or features of JAWS
Well,
are you looking to learn about?
Okay, So you notice I try to interrupt it and you can't interrupt it. I just learned that some of them you can interrupt and some of them you can't.
I see what you mean. Some screen reader commands or features can be interrupted, while others might need to finish.
And it thought I was talking about JAWS. So let's talk about JAWS specifically. Can you talk to me about the hotkey if I want it to read my current application? Like how do I know what program I'm in? What hotkey do I press?
Sure thing. In JAWS, to find out which application you're currently in, you can press Insert plus F1. That will announce the current window or application focus. If you need any more help with other hotkeys or features, feel free to ask.
All right, I'm done for now. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you have more questions later, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.
Okay, so I made it hallucinate a little bit. That's a term that I haven't talked to you about in this presentation. If you get to a point where you can confuse your AI a little bit, or you ask it about apples and it gives you this long description and you really meant the fruit, but it gives you a long description of bananas or even about something that's not even a fruit, then you basically cause it to hallucinate. So I kind of confused it a little bit when I was telling the audience here that it didn't understand my interruption, or it ignored it because it thought I was voiceover. It thought I was talking about speech interruption for JAWS. And then I later made it hallucinate a little more when I was asking it about how do I find out what program I'm in. I was actually looking for it to tell me insert T, or JAWS key with the letter T for the program title. Instead, it gave me insert F1, which is sort of correct. It does give me information about the application I'm in, but that's not what I was looking for. So that's something to keep in mind when you talk to these AIs, is that some of the information may either be skewed or not exactly what you're looking for, or it may be just outright wrong. All right, so I'm going to show you Gemini now.
Gemini, sidebar, button, go live, button.
And I'm going to go live. Here we go.
Go live. Hold conversation.
Hi there, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Ready to help you tackle whatever's on your plate. What can I do for you today?
Well, I'm talking to you from my iPhone in live mode, and just in case my voiceover speech talks in the background, go ahead and try to ignore that so you're listening to just me only. Is that okay?
I understand. I'll focus on your voice and do my best to tune out any background speech. How can I assist you today?
I am curious what you can tell me about the Texas Longhorns. I understand that they're playing today, and I'm curious to see if they're the favored winner, or what their outlook is for the rest of the season. Like, what do the pros say?
Sure. The Texas Longhorns are playing against the Kentucky Wildcats today. Right now, the Longhorns are favored to win. Do you want to know more about their odds or maybe their overall outlook for the season?
Actually, I want to know about their uniforms. Tell me about their colors and their uniforms and what they look like.
The Texas Longhorns are known for their classic burnt orange and white uniforms. The home jerseys are burnt orange with white numbers and lettering, while the away jerseys are white with burnt orange accents. They have a clean, iconic look. Are you interested in any specific details about their uniforms?
Nope, that's all I wanted to know. Now I want to switch over to a topic about, let's see, why don't you tell me what are some of my favorite topics in terms of TV shows or books that I usually talk to you about?
Based on our conversations, you've shown interest in a variety of topics, including sports like the Texas Longhorns, and you also enjoy discussing TV shows and books. Is there a specific genre or type of show you'd like to explore further?
Nope, I think I'm good for now. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my presentation and I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Good luck with your presentation and feel free to reach out if you need anything else.
Now, Gemini also has a lot, well, that was a live feature, but it also has a feature where you can share your camera and have it in real time, it'll look at things and describe things. So I have shown Gemini my wardrobe with various different shirts, and it has told me from left to right what the colors of the various different shirts are, and it's helped me match clothes. So by going into the live feature and turning on the camera, it's been able to do that. I have also used it to, I had 2 boxes of frozen food, and I couldn't tell by shaking it which one was the frozen burritos and which one was the frozen breakfast sandwich. And so it told me which one it was, which was the one on my left side, left hand that had the frozen burritos. And then it gave me the cooking instructions. Now, the cooking instructions, it actually gave me just by looking it up on the web based off of what I was holding, rather than me turning the box over to have it read it from the box itself. So it gave me directions on microwave, oven, and air fryer. And that way I was able to choose how I wanted to heat up my food that I wish was 0 calories. All right, so we're going to take the rest of this time here to answer a few questions. It's almost 4 o'clock, and we still have our drawing to pick somebody for that. And I don't know if you're ready for that, Stacie, but we are going to
I
pick
am
somebody.
ready. Yep.
All right, but let's go ahead and take time for a couple of questions. For this, go ahead and ask questions about anything from this presentation if you need. Oops, Gemini is still running. Let me close it. Close your AI when you're done.
App switcher, Gemini.
All right.
This is Sarah.
Yes, Sarah.
Quick question. When you are doing dictation, does each one of those save the information in your transcript so you can review it later?
Most
you're talking?
do.
Mhm.
Yes. Most of them will save your chat history, and they do it slightly different. ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini, I think, do it the best in terms of the ease of accessibility. You can access your chat history as well with Perplexity and Claude and some of these other ones. And so that way you can pick up a conversation without having to start over. So for example, on my work Gemini, it's a Gemini that I have specifically logged into my work account. I have a conversation saved on when I write reports in a specific way. They need to be formatted a certain way and all that. So it's basically like my template. So I will go to that conversation, open that up, and that way it's already got the prompts that have trained it to do the reports how I want them, and then I can just paste in my notes.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
Oh, awesome. Great.
Also,
Great session.
Yes. Have you heard of Grok AI?
Yes. So Grok AI is one of the other ones that's out there. It's used a lot for image descriptions. And it's actually part of, I think PickyBot uses Grok AI as one of its models to help describe videos. So it's good with facial stuff and good with character generation as well.
This is Karen. What are you saying? Dixie
PickyBot.
PickyBot. What is that?
PickyBot. So the speech will call it PixieBot because of the way it's spelled. It's PICCI. It's available on Android and on iOS, and it has a free version with ads with limited descriptions, I believe. I went ahead, I love it so much that I just bought the lifetime version for $20. It was a one-time charge of 20, I think, 20 or 30. They also have a monthly and a yearly subscription, and I don't know if the lifetime's still available. But the reason I got it is because you can choose from about 7 or 8 different models, including one that's like a combination of 3 models together, and get it to describe things. And it gives you different responses. So it's primarily to describe videos and to describe pictures. So Stacie and I have used it to describe our wedding video and various different wedding pictures. I will sometimes take pictures with my Meta glasses, and then when they're saved onto my camera roll, and I will have PickyBot describe those pictures. Now, Gemini also describes pictures, but PickyBot does it because you can choose which large language model you use. You can have it describe it in different ways in case it doesn't give you certain information that you know is there, or you just want it presented differently. You can choose that. So that I really like PickyBot quite a bit. All right, so we're going to pick a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So we're going to do it looks like there are, if I understand this, it's used to tell me the number of people that were on, and it's
33.
33. Thank you. Thank you for that. I was missing that. So we're going to have it do a number, and that way we pick somebody who's here. I don't want to go through a whole bunch of names and have it pick people who aren't here. So I'm going to talk to my friend A Lady over here. Alexa, please choose a random number between 1 and 31.
All right. Lucky number is 19. The universe has spoken through my random number generator.
19. Thank you so much for that. I like it because that's a prime number.
Oh, a fellow prime number enthusiast. You've got excellent taste. 19 is indeed prime and pretty special. It's the 8th prime number and has that nice mathematical to it. Plus, it's the largest prime that's also a Fibonacci number, which makes it extra nerdy cool in my book.
So if I'm counting this correctly, Mary Alice is the 19th person down. I was not counting Stacie and I at the top. I'm done, Alexa. So the A Lady Plus was thinking I was still talking to it. All right, so.
Caught me red-handed. Yeah, I was still listening. Occupational hazard of being an always-on assistant. Did you need something else?
Okay, so Mary Alice apparently is the winner. And so what we will do, Mary Alice, is I will reach out to you on Monday to what the prize is it is a 1 hour one-on-one training session with us. And we can, you can use that hour for AI assistance if you want to learn how to use AI on your computer or your phone. It's 1 hour. And so I will reach out to you to get you scheduled.
Charge it now.
I'll turn and do it in a minute.
There's a lot of people that are
I'm
unmuted.
reading something.
No, just charge it now.
Wait 2 seconds.
Okay, excuse me. So if you're not muted, mute yourself because we're hearing conversation. So Mary Alice, we will reach out to you. I will reach out to you on Monday. We have your contact information from the registration form, and we will get you scheduled for a remote session with Raul or myself.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. And thank you to everybody for coming today. We will have this recording. It will be uploaded to the HAVIN Work YouTube channel soon. And we will also be sending out a survey. So please, if you could, please fill out the survey. Also, let us know ideas for possible future HAVIN workshops.
Great job, everyone.
All right, thank you
Thanks,
everybody
Raul and
for joining
Stacie.
us. All right, bye-bye everybody.
Great presentation. Thank you.